Are you really ready to die for me?
Because one can validly argue Jerusalem is still trodden down by the Gentiles. It's still, we do not have, Israel is unable to get the nations to put their embassies there. They call it their capital. It's under dispute. It's still contested. And that's why we watch that with great interest.
An historic moment as the U.S. moves its embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. And for many evangelical Christians, the event is more than just politics.
Barely elected and already sparking international controversy. Brazil's future president Jair Bolsonaro said he will go ahead with plans to move the Brazilian embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, following the footsteps of the United States.
The prophets wrote, "Everyone will be taught by God." Anyone who hears the Father and learns from him comes to me. This does not mean that anyone has seen the Father. He who is from God is the only one who has seen the Father. I am telling you the truth. He who believes has eternal life. I am the bread of life. Your ancestors ate manna in the desert, but they died. But the bread that comes down from heaven is of such a kind that whoever eats it will not die. I am the living bread that came down from heaven. If you eat this bread, you will live forever.
Yes, yes, yes. You all know what it is. Sunday night. Awake Soul. Limitless. 8 p.m. Central. We are live. And you're getting a message already. How's it going, brother?
Good. How are you doing, brother?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Had a couple glitches with the background screen here. I'm just working on that.
Sometimes you have to re-log in to Zoom. I figured out.
Yeah.
But, hello, Elias and Terry. Thank you for joining. And to all those that join in a little bit, thank you. So Sunday nights are, generally scriptural nights for us. We've done a lot of readings of extra canonical books, and we just did Revelations. And I guess we didn't have anything really, book reading wise, whatever that seemed right to talk about tonight. I guess tonight we'll probably do more of current topics, but all relating it back to scripture and relating it to the times that we live in. And so sort of keep tonight a little bit more modern, and with that, probably do a little bit of a flywheel generator update too. What would you like to go through, brother?
Well, a bunch of topics. You really, gave it a good start. We're going to continue to do scriptures. I just felt like this week that I wanted to, just talk a bit. I wanted to go through a few things that are going on. I see some Mandela effects. And I see a bunch of stuff that, could use a little bit of attention. But I definitely want to keep the message going. I hope everybody out there is getting their sweat on for at least 30 minutes a day. I'm going to keep saying it. If the most important thing besides sharing the gospel of the truth with everybody is how much the exercise really changes our lives. And that I think that it's vital. And I know that we've been stuck in this virtual YouTube world, and we don't get enough exercise. So I wanted to start off by saying that. I want to talk about some Mandela effects. I'd like to talk about Jay Tolan, the guy. He's filming apparently the shuttle. A bunch of other topics, brother, and the free energy update. I'm really looking forward to as well. I know you've been working really hard on it.
Yeah, well, it's running. It is running. So that's pretty cool.
So we could start off with, I figure we could start off with a type of a game. I know we don't have too many people there watching in the chat, but the Mandela effect is pretty interesting. So I'm gonna throw out some Mandela effects. And I'd like you, even you, Jason, to put in the chat what you remember. I know I asked you this one, so you have to be honest and put the same answer down, Jason.
Yeah.
But does everybody remember Victoria's Secret? The clothing line? Because apparently now...
Thought I had it silenced. My realtor is trying to get a hold of me right now.
That could be a good thing. The deal could have went through. But so yeah, put down in the chat, maybe type 1 if you remember Victoria's Secret, or type 2 if you remember Victoria's Secret. But you were going to say kind of ties into tranny talk, right?
It does. Yeah. So I titled this something about depravity and how it relates to, biblical times, the end time season and all that. And tranny is definitely a major part of that depravity that I'm seeing that, is the reason for the title tonight. So I've got some Drudge headlines to cover. There's 3 up on Drudge right now that really it shows where we're at. So it's bad, man. It's bad. Actually, technically, I think tonight's content's going to have to be at least rated PG-13.
Oh,
there's going to be some nudity. It's right on Drudge.
Well, there won't be nudity. Don't say that out loud.
It's on Drudge right now. You want to see this? Check this out, man. I want to.
Looks like our chat is. Oh, you want to hijack the moment? All right, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Take it. It's fine. I'm
Look
signed into you.
This is Drudge right now. Like the Patriots lost. Here's the headlines, and you see over in France, you got the female police against Little Red Robin Hood here, and she's got a tit out. This is the first time I've ever seen this.
What? I don't think you're sharing the same screen. Oh, okay, yeah. Just keep it like that though for now. Wow.
This is on Drudge now. This isn't Europe. This is the United States. I've never seen this before. This is a first.
Yeah. So it's funny. We got a few people in the chat that are maybe still under the influence of the virtual reality that's being affected, because I remember I bought a few outfits for a few of my ex-girlfriends, and I remember Victoria's Secrets, right? Like it was her secrets. It wasn't pluralized or anything like that. But I definitely think there's a lot more to the Mandela effect. We'll get into that. I want to talk about these andro giants, and the Zidonian princess, which is actually a male queen. This is all throughout the Bible, this tranny talk, by the way. It's the Sodomites. Wow. Yeah, the word sodomite refers to a temple male prostitute, right? That was a male that dressed up like a woman.
Mm-hmm. And there's 2 other headlines up here that we'll get into tonight, but one is, where did it go now?
I'll just pepper it with some Mandelas throughout the entire hangout. As you're looking for that, I'll ask the next one. When I was a kid, I remember getting a bottle of Coca-Cola, like Cokeacola, Coca-Cola. What do you remember, Jason?
Coca-Cola.
You remember Coca-Cola, right?
Yeah.
Now it's just Coca-Cola.
Come on.
No, Coca. It's Coca-Cola. There's no Coca. It
was Coca-Cola.
Yeah, I know. It's totally changed now. It's Coca, not with the space, then cola, not Coca-Cola. It's just Coca-Cola, right? It's 2 words instead of 3. Did you find that link yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So this this right here really sets the tone for tonight. Have you seen this? Have you seen this article yet?
No.
This is on.
Oh yeah, I just saw this. I didn't read it. I saw the headline and I was like, whoa. You know what? It kind of made me a little sick. Catherine, are you saying it's just called Coke? There's no cola on it? Because that's strange.
Yeah, Coca-Cola, like if all the old stuff, there's people that are Coca-Cola like collectors that have all the magnets, and they have the bottles around their house and the wooden crates and old pop machines, and everything's Coca-Cola, right?
Coca-Cola, right? 3 words. It's not anymore.
Not anymore.
I can't see, and that's why, you know, I really respect you, brother. You were the one that, well, no, I had heard of the Mandela effect years and years ago, back in 2013, 2014, I heard about it. But you, instead of like, oh, that's disinformation, you actually pondered it, and then, you know, you came with supporting evidence, the fact that your name is now in the Bible, right?
Yeah, so it's not that I wanted the Mandela effect to be true in any which way, but I heard about it and I researched it, and I came across so many ones that were definitely changed for me. One of the early ones that really struck me was in Star Wars. It was Luke, I am your father, right?
Yes.
For me,
Luke,
I mean,
I am your father.
I remember we had it was a beta VHS, beta video cassette machine.
Yeah, beta was the larger tape. Yeah.
No, VHS
is smaller, I think. But beta is it's like 1 inch by 2 inches bigger, I think. But that's
It was the one that didn't make it. It didn't make the cut. But we bought that movie, and my brother and I, we would come home from school and we would watch that movie every single day after school. And we would, you know, jump around on the sofas and pretend to lightsaber fight and all that kind of fun stuff. And we knew every single line in the movie word for word. And it was Luke, I am your father. I'm quite confident of it.
What does it say now, Luke?
No, it's just no. I am your father.
Yeah, it's so changed. The Berenstain Bears was the first Mandela effect. The Berenstain, it is now, right? I think I would have remembered, like, if they were called the Bearstain Bears, whatever. But go ahead with this disgusting, sick article.
So the headline is, boys can have periods too. Children to be taught in latest victory for transgender campaigners. So school children will be taught that all genders can have periods in new sex education lessons in a victory for transgender rights campaigners. The advice to teachers was approved by the city council to tackle stigma around menstruation. The new advice follows a council report which says trans boys and men and non-binary people may have periods, adding that menstruation must be inclusive of all genders. Are you okay with this, brother?
Oh no. It's getting so bad now, where we were talking about over and over again the level when something gets peer reviewed and they send it back and you got to make it more racist, more divisive, more transgender. It's just getting to an all-time burning low.
Bins used for menstruation products will be provided in all toilets for children, according to the report. The report recommends that language and learning about periods is inclusive of all genders, cultures, faiths, and sexual orientations. For example, girls and women and others who have periods. Who are the others? Who are the others? Other than the girls and women.
I guess women pretending to be boys, right? Is that where they're kind of going with this, right?
Well, I think they're saying that men can have periods.
I don't think they're saying that. I think they're saying that if you're a woman and you recognize as a male, you're a male who still has a period. That's what I think they're trying to say, but you might be
right. They must. Oh boy.
Wow.
We believe it is important for all genders to be able to learn and talk about menstruation together. Right?
We already can. What do you mean? There's a lot of single fathers that raise daughters. They have to talk and teach them and get their products. It's not like something that we men don't have anything to do with, but I'm thankful that, you know, most of the women in my life have been they take care of themselves. It's not really, I don't notice anything. Not like I have anything against a woman having that. That's the cycle of life, right? This isn't a joke. This is the way that the Creator made us and women. I believe it might be a curse, the way that it takes place, that they'll get lifted. It gets taken away. All they got to do is repent, right? We live this life. We believe in the one who came here to die for us. But so I guess I'm going to just quickly interject this, and then I'll take a quick break and I'll be right back. But 5 years ago, there was a TV show on that my daughter was watching. She was like, "Oh, check this out." And I sat down, and it was about 4 years ago. And it turned out that it was a little boy that thought he was a girl, and they were giving him estrogen, and they were going to psychiatrists and psychologists and talking about getting physical surgery done. I absolutely snapped. I went bonkers. I freaked out on my daughter. I didn't like yell at her, but I was really considerably noticeably angry. I do believe that this whole movement is one of the most satanic things going today. Denying your gender, the way that you're created, is got to be the most literal slap in the Creator's face that you could possibly ever come up with.
Well, and it's everywhere and in everything. One of the things that we're going to do is, in case people haven't gone down this path of research before, but chances are a famous female celebrity is in fact not a female, but is actually a male. And that's the vast amount of trannies out there. There may be the occasional born female, menstruating, the person that would have menstruation that then pretends to be a male. All right. But
that's what I was saying.
What?
That this whole movement that you're reading here is trying to not be inclusive to women, but it's the first vision I got was somebody in Hollywood that's playing a woman or playing a man. No, that's not the way. There's not too many women that turn into men, so no. It's like 90% are women to male or male to women, yes. Right? Men don't work and yada yada. They're adorned and chaste and loved, and that's what these satanic androgyne kind of people. There are people that are born with both genders. I will admit, there are men that have feminine qualities and there's females that have male qualities. But at the end of the day, we all are considerably different between our ring finger and our index finger and our ring finger on both hands. Our Adam's apple for a man. The man has wider shoulders than it does hips. The man has larger shoulders, so there'd be less head widths from shoulder to shoulder. There are distinct eyebrows, deep set back, straight up forehead. There's so many things that clearly attribute a male, but they've actually, I guess they've been doing this for at least 50 years. Probably, this has been going on since Bible times, since before Yahushua. So they've perfected it now where to, let's say, all of the 80s and 90s swimsuit models and Sports Illustrated models were all actually men,
Mm-hmm.
but pretending to be women, but they wouldn't menstruate. Are we talking about we all get moody for 3 or 4 days once a month? Or are we talking about, are they going to start making boys wear protective cloth, like menstruating underwear for boys? Like, I don't understand where this is going.
Well, look at this. Tory MP David Davies told the Mail on Sunday that it was insanity for teachers to tell pupils that transgender boys can have periods.
Yes, he's right. I'll be right back. Yes, it's crazy. Insanity.
Insanity. Oh. Yeah, learning about periods is already a difficult subject for children that age. So to throw in the idea girls who believe they are boys also have periods will have them completely confused. However, leading doctors have previously recommended that primary school children are taught about LGBT issues. So here's your problem, everybody. People give authority to somebody that's been titled a doctor. And in order to be titled a doctor, you have to have gotten a bunch of degrees. And those degrees are all Masonic. It's all disinformation. It's a huge indoctrination complex system. And, well, they call these people doctors because they've been indoctrinated. And so they come out and say that primary school children need to be taught about this. Earlier this year, the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health urged ministers to go further in the guidance on sex and relationship classes, which will become compulsory from 2020. So this 2020 has been popping up for a while. It's like Expo 2020. I think it's in the place where the Burj Khalifa is. What is that? Can't think of it right now. But yeah, there's a 2020 Expo. Then there's all these agendas that seems to be something that's going to be heavily in play in 2020. And can't you just imagine what our next election is going to be like with Trump? And who knows what. But if the Simpsons are right, Trump doesn't make it to the election. He gets whacked. And if the Simpsons are right, Hillary's going to be president. So we'll see how long the Simpsons can be correct. Yeah, that's the kind of depravity that is going on in the world right now. This is right on the cover of Drudge. And I think right now, is Miss USA going on right now?
Yeah, I'm back.
Hey, how's it going? Is Miss USA going on right now?
I think it is, yeah. I think today. You mean Miss Trans essay or whatever, right?
Yeah. So for the first time ever, they're admitting that there's a trans participant in the competition. Right?
Yeah.
But it's not the first time a trans has won.
I know. You know what? If anybody's watching right now, let me be just a little bit upfront with you. Me and Jason have been seeking truth everywhere. So we've been well informed of this. Maybe somebody's watching might be absolutely blown away right now that it was Trump's administration, or it was Trump who first allowed transgender, supposedly back in the 90s. So it's like way before we knew this was going on, right? And you could tell they have these giant heads. I could start naming names: Taylor Swift, Beyonce, obviously the the Williams sisters. That one's just blatant. Russian vids.
Oh, just
cover
wait.
that pretty.
You're going to see some interesting lists of name coming up, but it's Trump who owned the Miss Universe pageant up until 2015, right?
Well, it was Powerland when Trump was running. He was doing podcasts saying that Trump was an absolute pig, and that when they had the interviews for these pageants, that each woman would have to go into an examining room, and then Trump would then go in with a judge, and they would inspect each supposed allegedly female, right? Wow.
But they weren't really females.
I know.
And then there's his wife, right?
Yes, Melania. And well, we know Michelle Obama, I mean, was but it might even go further back. You know what, people, I'm just gonna drop it. Jackie Kennedy was also Marilyn Monroe and was also a man. I'm sorry, people. It's true. Should we be laughing right now? Yeah, I'm going to laugh because you know what? All this Satanism, all these lies, they aren't going to enter the kingdom. And our creator does. Well, I'm sure he's upset. Yeah. Wasn't that a crazy one? At first I found out that Jackie Kennedy was actually Marilyn Monroe. And then I found out, it was a man too. Wow. Right. And you could tell.
You got to find the humor in it somehow. You really do.
Well, I can be honest with you. I had two sisters when I was young. I remember they put a dress on me. I was like 4 years old. They put makeup on me and they had me knock on the door and pretend I was some other kid. So like, I can understand there's a level to this whole aspect that might not be, like, forgive me, I repent if I've sinned then, but it was my sisters. They were kind of being pushy, and I'm sure there's other men that grew up with women. And, I do see, I know we have to make our masculine feminine, and the feminine has to become masculine. This is a spiritual progression, but it has nothing to do with flesh. That's the complete opposite of what we were supposed to do here. And, the last thing I wanted to say before I mute here is, some people, you have girly eyes, Ronnie, or whatever. Okay, like I was in a rock band and one time we did the makeup and, I looked really ugly like that. So, and women that try to look like men, they still look like women. Okay, we can tell, right? We can tell. It's obvious when people do this, when your eyes are open.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've got a confession. During my, the time that I was an atheist, therefore in my own definition a Satanist, I was leading a debauched life, and Halloween was the time to let loose. You could dress up, right?
Shame on you. Yes.
So yeah, I dressed and dragged for Halloween once.
You were that guy? Oh man. Other photos? You gotta burn them. But yeah, you know what, man? I really appreciate when you're honest and you call it like it is, my Satanist experience, right?
Yeah.
The closest I ever had to that was I was in a progressive metal band, and we covered some death metal. And one of the covers of the album had Yahushai splayed open. It was disgusting, right? I wasn't really into the group. Like, we were more about playing like really progressive, really hard, top world class type chops. We weren't death metalers.
Brother, your audio it's muddled again. I know you don't like it when that happens, but
I've never had a satanic period, brother. Besides, doing drugs here or there, I've done my share.
Okay. Now it's really worse.
It's worse.
Yeah.
Maybe Yahushua doesn't want me to tell people. Is it better now?
No. Let's see. I'll just go on. But I am getting a feedback loop.
How about now?
It's a little better.
And the last thing too, I was in a really bad car accident, and I was on Percocet. I was taking opioids for 2.5 years, and I quit them myself. I weaned myself off of them and beat that. So those are my sins, you know, like I'm far from perfect, but the last 6-7 years of my life, I've been so thankful. The Lord he's been cleaning me up every step of the way, and I'm super thankful for that. And everyone else, your hearts can be made new again. You can beat any addiction. And sharing your addictions and things that you've been through is super, super purifying too. Healthy, right? You, Jason, are the one that always, I really appreciate that about you, brother. You always, let's get it out of the table, right?
Oh, radical honesty, man. It's raw. And maybe if you could still try to fix your audio a little bit. It's not back to its normal. But radical honesty is, it's when a woman asks you, do I look fat in this? And you go, yep. You know, if you do, you just say it like it is, and wham.
Yes.
People don't like radical honesty. The truth hurts.
Well,
the truth hurts. But I found that to just dance around and try to like not hurt everybody's feelings, but therefore be lying or not telling the truth that should have been told, it creates more problems and pain down the road. So I would rather just be radically, brutally honest and just face it up front and it's done with. Then you don't have to have somebody come back later and be like, you weren't telling the truth about this.
How's my mic now?
It's good.
Oh yeah, it's so true what you said there. The only difference is I could be completely radically honest, but I can always find something that's good about somebody too. You know, that's a special gift I have, I guess.
Yeah, but it comes down to the moments when you're asked the question. All right. Do you gloss something over, or do you come with?
Somebody asked me if I look fat. I'm like, well, you know, you could, you know, ride the Stairmaster a bit more in the next couple of weeks. You know, you are showing a little bit on the sides there, just like when I ask someone too, right? But you know, we really know what we look like. We shouldn't be like that. But yeah, let's get back into this transforming times.
Yeah, so we've got an outright trans, and here we go. Miss Universe's 66-year history. We know how often that 66 shows up, right?
Of course.
Of course. So just look at that.
Those are all men.
That's a
man. That's a man. The eyes, they're like bigger than mine. First off, like, oh, they just look, it's starting to look alien.
Mm-hmm. All plasticky.
That one's well done. The surgery is well done on that one. They've really perfected it, I think. Well, I don't know if this is something new, but.
All right. So this sort of leads into the topic of Trump and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I asked the question, who owns Miss Universe? Miss Universe. Let me ask the question again.
Yeah, it was Trump, but he couldn't run for president, right?
Yeah, so the pageant was owned by Trump from 96 to 15 and was previously broadcast on NBC. In September 2015, this was before, because he was going to become president, this WME, the William Morris Endeavor Entertainment LLC, also known as Williams Morris Endeavor, the talent agency with offices in Beverly Hills. And then there was this merger with this IMG.
Oh no.
Do you know who IMG is?
Don't they own Google, or like the largest investment company in the world?
Oh, you're gonna see who's a part of IMG here.
Is it the JAW? Don't say it, but
so these guys here in New York City, and Trans World International is the event company.
I don't like the Endeavor either. That one's sad.
Trans. So
Trans World.
It's all over the place here. Trans World International is the event company of IMG. And their divisions: events and media, college, golf, tennis, performance, academy, fashions, models, clients, consulting, licensing, joint ventures, Miss Universe organization. And yeah, it's interesting here. This guy that started it, Mark McCormick, whatever, he signed Arnold Palmer and Gary Player and Jack Nicklaus as his first clients.
Wow. I remember those were some big names when I was a kid, man. Huge worldwide names, right?
Well, that's the thing. This guy, when he signed you up, so Jack Nicklaus, it says in here someplace that he went from winning, like his winnings were making him like $60,000 a year, but immediately he was making $500,000 a year because this is the guy that signed everybody up, put them on the network.
This
Right?
guy got a front room with like top floor of the Devil's building or something.
Yeah, he's dead now. But this IMG, what they're connected to, let's start taking a look here. They've got football, basketball, the professional bull riders. Right? So yeah, so you'll see that so many of the things that people are entertained by, like the Miss Teen, the Miss USA, the Miss Universe, the Taste Festivals, Stars on Ice, all these golf tournaments, Ultimate Fighting Championship, right? Motorsports. They've got Formula, the World's Strongest Man competition. They do it. Surfing, tennis, triathlons. Your audio's better now. Volleyball, and then the fashion. They've got all these fashion weeks and sports. They've got all these sports channels. Look at these are their signed stars, right? So when you're with this company, you have an agent. You are a star. You're a celebrity for this. You're an entertainer that works for the IMG network.
Yeah, those are some noticeable names.
Venus Williams, Serena Williams. What's interesting about them?
They're transgender.
Trans. So how many of these athletes in here are trans? They really love the trans.
The Premier League, that's big time.
They have sports channels that, are broadcast on airlines and Carnival Cruise.
Yeah, I've been on a Carnival cruise. That's wow.
The PGA Tour, the European Tour, the rugby. They have this academy, all their models. So your tranny celebrity models, the ones that are on all the fashion magazines that are transgender. We could go through all the models that they've got, all the top talent, the Longhorn Network. So I'm in Austin.
Wow.
They have the Longhorn Network. It's stunning. And it's all relates back to, this is all tranny based. So much of it is.
Well, not just tranny based, but the whole Talmudic, Sabbatean, satanic way, every part of it. Taking a big swing tonight, eh, brother?
Screw YouTube channels. We're going after everyone satanic.
Yeah, look at
the web is, wow, try to mind control me.
Mm-hmm.
Those are men. And then I don't know if that's a woman, but it's so hard to tell, man. They mix them up. I wouldn't even doubt that they've got women with male implants in their chin and cheekbones, and I don't see too many of those, but I know there's so many women that are men. It's just like Cindy Crawford. So many of them, man. It's crazy. Kathy Ireland. All the supermodels, right? They've all been the skinny men, really, that have been changed sexually and given hormones.
So, I mean, look at all this.
Is that the actress? That first one, Sarah Bertrell? There's the woman who played Wonder Woman has actually been hired as an ambassador for the trans world by the United Nations. I'll get to that maybe later.
Yeah, well, if you want to take the screen share, there was a couple of things that I come across, but I'm not finding them right now. But if you want to go, okay. I'll keep looking.
I'll pull up something to go along with the tranny topic. I'll play a couple of clips from Mr. E's video from this morning. He does a really good job. It's incredible what we're seeing and beholding, and how much it really is satanic.
Yeah,
you know that it is, right?
And now the children are going to be taught that boys can menstruate too, and we need to be sympathetic to them. And
it's crazy. I'll do another Mandela effect while I'm pulling this up. Everybody used to get this cold medicine, right? Was it start a con? Do you know this stuff? Starts with the CON. Cold medicine.
Cold medicine. It's something. I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, I can't think of cold medicines.
Well, it's contact, right?
Yeah.
Contact, cold and sore throat medicine. But now it's just called contact. Right? The T's gone.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, Mandela effects really touch different people at different times. Sometimes they get to you and sometimes they don't, right? Why is this video not coming up?
So if the people in the chat would like to say if you've been affected by Mandela effect, sort of like say I've been affected by it. If you haven't been affected by it, let us know. It's neither good nor bad, but I can assure you that if you've been affected by it, then you just know, right?
Yeah.
You just know.
Well, it's kind of obvious when you see something that's changed. Let me see. Oh, a steakhouse. What is it? A bar and grill.
Applebee's.
Yeah, Applebee's bar and grill, right?
Yeah.
It's actually Applebee's Grill and Bar.
No.
Yes. Just say it out loud. Just feel how weird it is.
Applebee's Grill and Bar.
Yes.
No.
Grill and Bar. Yes, that's what it's always been. Okay, I'm gonna screen share.
How do they do this, man?
I don't know. Well, it says in the scriptures that Satan would be giving all signs for lying signs and wonders. Well, that's
word of the day is Kadesh, which means male temple prostitute. Now in the Bible they say the word sodomite because of what happened in Sodom, but I think this is kind of a mistranslation actually, because the actual meaning of Kadesh is much more specific, because these days we use the word sodomite mainly to refer to homosexual people. But you can see here the actual definition, male temple prostitute. That's a different meaning. Your average homosexual person these days is not a male temple prostitute. All right, and we're going to see who they worshipped and who they are still worshiping today, and how this ties into the transpocalypse and the end of this age. All right, so this word Kadesh, a quasi-sacred person for the small g.
Hit that quasi in there, eh?
Gods and the small e Elohim. Technically a male devotee by prostitution to licentious idolatry, sodomite unclean. But I came across this lexicon here, right? That basically sums it up right here. Okay, Kadesh, a sodomite. So really, the origins of sodomite is not necessarily the city of Sodom. What's been lost to us is this this tie-in to sorcery and witchcraft and the worship of other gods. Okay, so this was primarily a religious thing for them. So a sodomite, a transvestite priest prostitute consecrated to Astarte or Venus, prostituting himself in her honor. Okay, and it looks like Venus was worshipped among the Babylonians as well. There's 6 verses that talk about the Kadesh. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
That's interesting how the scriptures relates whores to women and sodomites to men.
So whore for the daughters, sodomite for the sons, prostitutes, male prostitutes, right? And there are also sodomites in the land. And they still are in the land, by the way. When the Israelites are not in the land, who's in the land? The Canaanites. We're going to see where the sodomites really come from and who they really worship and where they are today. And there are also sodomites in the land, and they did according to all the abominations of the nations which the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And he took away the sodomites out of the land and removed all the idols that his father had made. Okay, so that was a period of reform and the Israelites turning back to God. And the remnant of the sodomites, which remained in the days of his father Asa, he took out of the land. And he brake down the houses of the sodomites that were by the house of the Lord, where the women wove hangings for the grove. But now here's this other verse that I didn't really know about. In Job, they die in youth, and their life is among the unclean. But look, it's the same word, Kadesh. See, the Hebrew is actually Kadesh. It could be saying they die in youth and their life is among the sodomites. He's talking about the wicked. But if they do not listen, they perish by the sword and die without knowledge. The godless in heart cherish anger. They do not cry for help when he binds them. They die in youth and their life ends among the cult prostitutes. So here it is right here in the ESV. It says cult prostitutes instead of unclean. Okay, so we saw that these sodomites, these cult prostitutes, are consecrated to Astarte or Venus. Okay, so here's Astarte in the Bible, and this is the net. Some versions say Astarte, some say Ashtoreth. So let's read this. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Zidonians, and after Milcom.
So, a lot of Masons love to worship Solomon. Every king that ever was, besides Yahushai, was just a testament to the fact that we humans are far from perfect and that we can only be saved by the Creator himself, his perfection, right? It was a lesson over and over and over again in the Bible. The people, we want a king, right, Jason? We want a king. And then what happened when they got the king?
We don't want him.
Well, the king will fall, right? Just like David, Solomon, they constantly over and over. Herod, there were so many bad ones too. But this Astaroth and the Zidonians, so I think Wonder Woman, I'm pretty sure that she says she's an Astaroth from Zidonia. I think that's all in modern day Wonder Woman. Do you know that?
Wow.
Call him the abomination of the Ammonites. Goddess of the Sidonians, right? Who are the Zidonians? And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon at the day of judgment than for you. All right, so you can see that Sidon was the firstborn son of Canaan. And remember, Canaan was cursed by Noah because of Ham's transgression. This would have been Ham's grandson. So the Zidonians come from this guy Sidon, from the line of Canaan. And all the, the giants and all those guys that the Israelites battled came from Canaan. Ashtoreth or Astarte was the goddess of the Sodomites. All right, and Solomon went after that goddess, the goddess of the Zidonians, because they have forsaken me and worshipped Ashtoreth, Astarte, the goddess of the Zidonians, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in my eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. So because Solomon broke the first commandment and worshipped other gods, the kingdom of Israel was broken up into 2 groups. And the northern 10 tribes kind of eventually were dispersed and kind of vanished into the nations, into the world. And the southern 2 tribes kind of merged into one, became Judah. And the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the Mount of Corruption, which Solomon, the king of Israel, had built for Ashtoreth, Astarte, the goddess of the Sodomites, the abomination of the Zidonians, right? All right, so we have the King Solomon with his 1,000 women, strange women, and he married, was it Pharaoh's daughter? So Solomon was hanging out with a bunch of strange women and worshiping Astarte, Venus. So the Freemasons loved Solomon because he brought Israel to an end, essentially. It was because of this goddess of the Sodomites. Here's a Easton's Bible Dictionary. Ashtoreth, the moon goddess of the Phoenicians, principal female deity, frequently associated with the name of Baal, the sun god, their chief male deity. All right, so Ashtoreth, kind of a counterpart to Baal, which I believe just means Lord anyway, so that could be a number of different gods. This deity is spoken of as Ashtoreth of the Zidonians, right? Remember the Canaanites. She was the Ishtar of the Akkadians, right? So Ishtar is another manifestation of the same goddess, right? For different people with different languages had basically the same gods, more or less, under different names. And the Astarte of the Greeks, all right? So Astarte is the Greek name. There was a temple of this goddess among the Philistines in the time of Saul. Under the name of Ishtar, she was one of the great deities of the Assyrians. The Phoenicians called her Astarte. Solomon introduced the worship of this idol. Jezebel's 400 priests were probably employed in its service. Remember what happened to these 400 priests? Didn't end well for them. It was called the Queen of Heaven. All right, so we've got the Queen of Heaven now. We've got Ishtar. We've got Jezebel's 400 priests. So we can see there's a reason for this commandment. The woman shall not wear that which pertains unto a man. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
So that was the scripture here that I still had fresh in my mind when my kid put on that TV show with that little kid on there who was, their parents were literally dressing it up in the wrong sex's clothing, right? And giving it hormones.
Mm-hmm. Now, Catherine mentioned I'm not very good at picking up on trans people. Maybe I've been brainwashed. I like feminine looking men. And, you know, that really, it is brainwashing, because that is what the media has been doing. They've been promoting the feminized man, the metrosexual, all the advertising, everything has been catered to programming us towards the feminine male. That way, men seeking female attention will feminize. Right?
Oh, you've nailed it. Well, women are actually, you know, of the highest being mind controlled and programmed. Maybe even more programming goes towards women than men. And they're trying to take away the manly man, right? They want to destroy the family completely. So, you know, a good woman is a good woman because she has a good man, and a good man is a good man because he has a good woman. They've completely done away with all of it.
But what they don't want is self-sufficient, strong-willed, dominant men. They don't want that. That's a serious threat to their society.
Mm-hmm.
So,
great point.
They've been feminizing.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just left a ending comment. They've been feminizing. That's part of the agenda.
Were doing. That's what people who worshipped Ishtar, Astarte, Ashtoreth, Venus, the queen of heaven, that's what they were all doing. Ishtar. Okay, now this is the star of Ishtar right here. All right, now you got the moon. That's probably the sun right there. And in fact, some people think that this guy is kind of dressed like a woman, actually, bearded face.
And then in the Mason Hall, you'll have the two pillars. You'll have the third pillar. It's all the same.
With a woman's clothing. But this is the star, the 8-pointed star of Ishtar. It's really kind of like two cross figures on top of each other. But you can see this is the star of Ishtar, and we see this quite a bit. We see this on Wonder Woman's headpiece.
There she is. You know that actress, right, Jay?
Yeah, I actually saw this movie on the cruise.
Yeah, right. It's now, well, you'll hear what he said.
Which also has this kind of V symbolism, and this Phoenician god, Ahura Mazda, is kind of the winged symbolism there. There's a close-up of it right there. Star of Ishtar. Okay. You can see this winged, you got the winged eagle, angelic symbolism there in the outfit. Star of Ishtar. Now, in older versions of Wonder Woman, they had a pentagram. So now they have the Star of Ishtar. Okay. And remember that Wonder Woman, the character Wonder Woman, was appointed UN honorary ambassador for gender equality, which they want to implement by 2030. All right. They want to achieve gender equality. You got Venus and Mars together equals, which means androgyny. All right. Sustainable development goal for the world, so they can develop the world sustainably. They will have a world of androgyny by 2030. It appears that the United Nations was established to bring about the transpocalypse. All right. Now this is from.
You hear that? He might have a good point there.
Oh yeah.
The transpocalypse might be the largest, the bringer of destruction.
Oh yeah. That's why there was 3 big headlines. Boys having periods now. There's an actual naked breast on the cover of Drudge and the tranny. I think it's today, Miss Universe.
Yeah, he gets into it. It's just insane.
It is.
From something called the Dictionary of Ancient Near Eastern Mythology. So Venus, all right? So we saw Venus is one of the sodomite gods. The planet, now remember, planets are wandering stars, all right? There's no such thing as a planet. There never was in the ancient world, right? Look in the Bible. It never says when planets were created, all right? Earth is not a planet. These lights in the sky are not solid-bodied objects. They're not suns. There's only one sun, there's one moon, there's a bunch of stars. Planets are also stars. They're wandering stars. And the planets are seen as the gods. Okay, the Seal of Solomon, right? Seal of Solomon after he started to worship the other gods. Now this is the sun in the middle. All the different planets, Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, the moon, Venus, Mars. Think of the Tower of Babel, right? The languages were confused. Well, that's when they started using symbols, okay? These are their main gods, and we've seen the one we're talking about today is Venus. It's one of the great luminaries of the sky, a wandering star. First star of the evening and the last at dawn. It seems that the Sumerians preferred the evening star, which was usually endowed with female qualities. 2 goddesses were worshipped as Venus, Inanna, all right? Inanna, that's Diana Prince, that's Wonder Woman, right? And Ninisina. Now it's Sin, right? The god Sin is the moon god, so I wonder if that's the feminine moon god type thing. The Semites originally preferred the morning star, which had male characteristics. Under Sumerian influence, they added a female manifestation. Okay, so it looks like Venus is a male to female transsexual. Astar as well as Inanna were worshipped at Ebla and Mari. Eventually, one deity emerged which had a split personality consisting of the female evening star and the male morning star. See, split personality, both male and female. One deity, male and female, right? Venus is a tranny. The Babylonian Ishtar, or Ishtar, Babylonian Ishtar, where we get the word Easter, is the prime example. All right, so Ishtar.
Just to correct him a little bit there, Venus isn't a tranny, but the people that worshipped it as a deity believed it was. Okay, it's actually the morning. Go ahead.
Well, and when you're done, I have just a side point to throw in.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, just remember that there's a conjunction of Venus and the moon coming December 31st, and it's 2:00 in Jerusalem, and it happens as the very last place on Earth turns to 2019.
Yeah, Steve, what's his last name? Wow, I can't believe I drew a blank. Fletcher 222 brought that out. Yeah. You know, it was funny when he was looking at the time and date.com. I really badly wanted to ask him, hey, can you explain how that works on a ball?
I know.
Because they can't.
He works so hard for finding the coming of Yahushai, but he's still in serious error in a couple things.
We just try to hold love. Let's keep going. We're gonna get through this.
Is the prime example of what? Of the male and female tranny god, the bearded Ishtar of Babylon. Okay, that's the thing I showed you there. Remember, Ishtar started out as like a female deity, so why is it bearded, right? The god of the tranny.
I also think it's a reference to Nimrod's time as well.
While the feminine Ishtar was the love goddess of the south, the Aramaean Venus goddess Nanaya, who became a very important deity in the first millennium BC, also had male and female characteristics. All right, male and female. All right, Venus is a male and female tranny hermaphrodite god. Aphrodite is another name for Venus and Astarte and all these gods we're talking about today, all right? Aphrodite, Hermes, hermaphrodite, right? Hermes and the hermaphrodites. All right, now let's look at Inanna. Now this is from the Historical Dictionary of Mesopotamia. Inanna, so this is the same god, right? We're really just talking about one god today, or goddess. What do you call a tranny god? I don't know. Inanna, the foremost Sumerian goddess.
This guy's research to this transpocalypse is unrivaled. What do you call a tranny goddess, right? What do you call it? Baphomet? What's the ultimate?
Tranny goddess.
Wow.
I don't know.
I'll keep it going.
Patron deity of Uruk. All right. So again, associated with the Semitic deity Ishtar, the tranny god we just saw. All right. Temples in most cities. Okay. Lady of the battle. Okay. A Wonder Woman, Amazonian type. Inanna was a subject of a great number of literary compositions, hymns, songs, and prayers. Many of these depict Inanna as the embodiment of sexual drive and allure in all its ambiguities. Ambiguity. She could turn men into women. She could turn men into women. Tranny god. In her entourage appear transsexuals and transvestites. Wow. She was the patron of prostitutes. Okay, said to haunt the taverns in search of male partners. One myth recounts that when she was kept captive in the underworld, all copulation and hence reproduction came to a sudden end. Reproduction came to a sudden end because of Inanna. It sounds like
that's bad. That's the culling. That's the end of. That's Satan trying to ram civilization right into the ground.
Yeah, well, he hates humans. So I mean, for people, just remember how this all started. Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden. Satan hatched his plan where through lies and deception, he was going to mislead the creation of Yahweh, and he was going to be their leader through lies and deception. And where was I taking this?
Satan's deception in the garden, changing Adam and Eve.
Oh yeah, and you know, the way he wanted to fool them. It's so close to coming back to thought completely, but it's not quite there, and it's drifting away.
This looks like it was. This looks like it was his plan.
Transpocalypse 2000 agenda. Inanna, Wonder Woman, Gal, Guy, Gadot. Israeli soldier / beauty pageant winner, Miss Israel, right? Miss Israel. Gal Gadot went through this pageant ritual in honor of Inanna Ishtar, United Nations ambassador for the 2030 extermination of humanity agenda. Inanna, as the Queen of Heaven, was associated with the planet Venus. All right, Inanna, Diana, all right, the name is Diana Prince, right? Prince is the name for gods. Diana Prince, Inanna, right? Inanna is another name for Venus in Astarte and Ashtoreth. So this is the goddess of the transvestites, right? This is the goddess.
And in the movie, it kicks butt, right? It pushes the men aside. It's like, get out of my way. It just kicks their butts, eh? Wow.
I would not be surprised to find out that, like, the Satan of Satans, because we know Satan's just a title, right? It's not actually the name of an individual Satan. Yeah, a bunch of adversaries. But there are individual names given to the different Satans, and to one was Azazel, describe all wickedness, right? So there's a leader, and I would not be surprised to find out that leader is actually, in fact, like some sort of feminine type spirit, the one that fights for this tranny agenda. Like, it's what the Satans are just so about, is this androgynousness. And well, yeah, Satan's ultimate goal, he hated, this is where the thought was before, he hated God's creation. He hated Yahweh's creation, right?
Yes. He was wroth with hatred when Yahushua said, hey, you've got to serve and worship them. They're my creation, right? And he was like, what? Or she, how dare you? I'm as high as the morning star. I'm not going to bow down to flesh, right? And that's where he hatched his plan, and a third of the angels fell with him. And I see, the thing is, angels aren't generally given a sexual preference or orientation. They're considered spiritual, right? It's everlasting,
because they don't have boy parts and girl parts, right?
They're made of light, I would assume, and energy, because it's everlasting. But still, the same as we have a covering, our firmament around our bodies, our skin, the angels could have the same thing. So it's my opinion that the ones that fell, that you're referring to as Azazel and Simiazah, all of them, I think they were all bisexual. So, and ultimately, like I said before, running mankind into the ground would be making all the men become women and nobody having babies anymore, right?
Well, here's a line of thought that I've gone through personally, and if you're a female that listens to this, you can say I'm just biased because I'm a guy, and that's true, and a female is biased because she's a female. You can only know what you are. I can't know what it's like to be a woman, and a woman can't know what it's like to be a man, but we can be pragmatic about all this. And up until about 100 years ago or so, right, most people didn't have electricity. And before electricity, the way of life was entirely different, right? You're building a home without electricity. That means no power tools, right? It's all hand tools to build your home. You got to cut the wood, you got to, mill the logs, you got to chop the trees down. That's extremely heavy, laborious work. Most people were farmers. You had to cultivate the ground. You had to take care of livestock. The tasks of daily living were divided up, where the men took care of the physical work, right? The building, the farm, that kind of stuff. The women took care of things around the house, the cooking, the cleaning, the children. And that's the way that tasks were divvied up, because that's the way we're suited. The man's got a bigger, stronger body than the female. That's why this idea of women transgendering to male, it's like, why are you doing that? You want to become a plumber and reset toilets and clean drains and put shingles on a roof or cut down trees? I don't know too many women that want those jobs, but those are the jobs of a guy. So if you really just break down in essence and forget what electricity has done for us, and look back upon our history for, the other 5,900 years, and these roles were dominant across the board. And now with the advent of electricity, and that ties into the scriptures, like Satan falling from heaven as lightning. Like, this electricity has really been a curse to humankind, as far as how quickly Satan's been able to destroy and pervert.
It's weird that the metaphor works that way,
right?
Because I sort of disagree with you, because I think that reference again was about the speed in which it fell, right?
Yeah,
just like
could be
the mockery of how high it was, as high as the morning star. It was the light bearer, right? And then it got sent down so fast that it appeared like a bolt of lightning. But then again, you're right, electricity. But see, what I'm thinking is maybe being a cross-dresser before electricity would have been a more of a bet for a lazy man than today. Today, women don't even need men, right? Well, they need us to do the grunt work by the hour.
Yeah. But by having jobs that are non-labor jobs, like that's what computers and office work has been able to do, is provide a lot of jobs to people where you can have money that you can exchange for, the services that you need from a guy. I have yet to see in my lifetime one woman with a chainsaw like logging up a tree that like fell on a house or something like that. It's never happened. So these gender roles are being greatly distorted right now. And the trans apocalypse, like what Mr. E is talking about right here, this is really the death throes of this system. It's over.
It's the bringer of destruction.
Yes.
Of the Sodomites was named UN ambassador for gender equality, right? Just think about that, right? So the United Nations actually appointed a goddess as ambassador for gender equality that they want to achieve by 2030. Gal is a Kadesh. Gal is a transvestite prostitute priest consecrated to Ashtoreth. Yeah, the next U.S. president will probably be someone who looks kind of like this. Yeah, I'm sorry, but that ain't no gal. Okay. And let's take a look at this Miss Universe, all right, which is coming up on Sunday night. Look at this. What do we have here? This Star of Ishtar. The Star of Ishtar, Ashtoreth, Venus. So I think this Miss Universe pageant, and all these pageants go back thousands of years to the days of Solomon and the Sidonians and the Canaanites, who were, these pageants are another way to worship their gods, basically. And you can see all kinds, look at this right here. It's basically a goddess, right? And you got this kind of moon symbolism right there, right? Venus, you got the pentagrams. This is a goddess, right? All right, so it's basically worship of Ishtar, right? Ashtoreth, Venus. I mean, this is like ancient pagan ritual, right? So they're worshiping their androgynous gods by putting these androgynes in this, contest to find the person who is most like the god. And it's almost a way of...
Oh, I just figured something out. Wow. Read the orange lettering and add the symbol with the word that you know it as. Read it all as one word. Want me to explain that again slower?
Yeah.
Read the yellow and orange, the orange colored writing there.
Yeah.
And the symbol that you see, change it to the word that you call it in one word.
Mr. Universe.
Yes, Mr. Universe.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. You got it, brother.
Mr. E didn't even say that.
No, you caught it. That's an original.
Well, he said that you got to watch the Satanists, how they like to use symbols. And then I seen Miss and then Star, and I'm thinking, Mr. Universe. Wow. I'll give myself a.
offering themselves to that God. All right, so here's some contestants. Now, one of these people is openly transgender. I wonder if you can spot it. Yeah. Well, it's hard to tell, right? Because they're all trannies, right? Look at this one. Come on, that's a tranny. All right, look at them. Just look at their faces. All right.
Oh man, I think the girl from Twilight. I think that was a man.
So then you can tell just by looking at the face. All right. Now I don't have time to get into looking at their body. Look at that one. That's a tranny. All right. It smells like a tranny. There. Okay. So the open tranny is actually on this page right now.
Look at it. It's right here. How could you not miss the eyebrows? It's got like my shaped eyes almost, man. I feel a little bit sickened, extra sickened by this. Look at the nose job it's got. Ooh.
Don't contemplate it, brother. Don't contemplate it.
I'm not. I'm just I'm contemplating just how evil this reality.
But you can see there's not a whole lot of difference between the other ones. I mean, you'd think it was this one here, right? Well, no, that one's pretending to be a woman. How about this one? Oh, pretending to be a woman, right? Look at the large skull, the shoulders, and all that stuff, right? Now, I believe they outlawed or they stopped doing the swimsuit part of this pageant. They stopped doing the swimsuit thing because it...
And you know, it's funny too. Like when I grew up, women had small lips, right? I had the big lips, right? So what they've done in the past 38, 40 years is they've now got women to start injecting themselves with lip filler just so that they'll look like the trannies.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because the men can't shrink their lips. Let me ring the bell again.
Yes.
Don't blow out your lips, women. Leave them the way they are. A woman, natural woman, in my opinion, Yahushua made it like perfect. I'm sorry. As a man, a beautiful, natural, God-fearing woman, you know, that has probably one of the greatest things that he ever, man was lonely and he needed a companion. He made a perfect companion for us. We don't need men dressing up as women like this and then being promoted all over so that women now think they have to look like these men, right? This is where the sick cycle takes place. Jason?
Oh, it's Mr. Universe, and then Trump is the guy that owned all this, but he passed it off. Yeah, that's what all this ties back to. Trump's with a tranny.
First ever actual female contestant. That would be newsworthy. It's one of the favored people in Las Vegas to win. Actually, people actually bet on this thing. And look at this. Transgender competitors were banned until 2012. Miss Universe.
I'm going to show that they weren't banned
Trump until he began his political career. Actually, people actually bet on this thing. And look at this. Transgender competitors were banned until 2012. Miss Universe, famously owned by Donald Trump until he began his political career, did not allow transgender competitors until 2012. No, it's always been a tranny pageant for thousands of years, okay? May have gone under different names or been more of a local event, you know, but it's spread around the world to all the nations. Donald Trump owned this pageant, all right? Donald Trump owned a pageant that worships the gods, okay? The god of the trannies, for that matter.
So, you know, I don't know if I have to show any more of this, brother. That was what I really wanted to tie in. And if those days had not been cut short, no human being would be saved. But for the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. We are living in these times right now.
That's the point. That's the point of sharing this. We are not glorifying this in any which way. We are here to mock it, deride it, and use it as evidence that we are in that short time period right at the end.
Right at the end. Where you know, this could be a woman and this is a man. This is also the actress works for the United Nations as a gender equality chief of officer. Can you believe that? And you get it. Wonder what sex it is. Wonder Woman. Ooh, it's a wonder, right?
Oh yeah, wonder.
I wouldn't want to wonder. I wouldn't want to wonder. I couldn't even imagine. I shouldn't laugh, but I couldn't imagine that. Like, you meet somebody, because I happen to be a patient person with women in my life, right? So it would be time and time and time until I knew. Imagine if you didn't have any sexual action until you were married. What if you were married and you get your wedding night and it's a man, right? Like, is that where they're going with this? Where is?
No,
I just don't know
they just want it to be all open and acceptable, where everybody can be bisexual or trisexual. You can be 30 different sexualities, and then just be whatever you want to be at that moment with whoever you want to be with at that moment. Just that's Satan's ideal. That's the way he envisions it all.
It's really mind blowing. Like, all the things that I've researched and studied. When I found out about the transpocalypse, that was a bad shift. I was like, oh, this is really, really wicked. But you kind of brought some light to it by pointing out potential flat earth trannies.
Yeah. See, that's one of the things that I've come to see, is that amongst all the COINTEL, all right, so every truth has opposition in there, and then there's fake people covering the truth. That's your limited hangout group. And then you have your COINTEL that works fake opposition to them. They're all in the same team, and they have talking points, and they work back and forth against each other. But I don't see genuine truther female channels. I don't see them, and right away it's a red flag. So that if there is a female channel in a truther topic, I now, after learning what I've learned about all these trannies out there, the first thing I do is the tranny investigation. And so within Flat Earth, the two prominent supposedly females, they didn't pass the test for me. Not whatsoever.
That's the part of the whole takeover that baffles me, and I'm glad that me and you can bring light to it and expose it, and we'll never change. So this Jay Tolan Media, the new largest, he's got everybody on the flat earth, putting a infrared filter on their cameras and shooting everything in black and white. So I see this video come out and I'm like, oh, come on. Me and you have called it out. This guy's a shill right from the start, right? I didn't think he was going to flip. Watch.
Now I calculated what its size is at.
So he filmed something in the sky. He's got it zoomed in here, and now he's going to tell you what he thinks it is.
Different orbital distances. And at 300, it's about 28. At 120, about 11 meters. And at 438 meters. What is this thing, folks? So I looked up the space shuttle. Can it be a space shuttle? And look at that. The length is advertised at 37 meters. And that corresponded with the 400 kilometer altitude I assumed in my calculations. Where is the International Space Station? Let me pull up a graph. Whoa, look at that. In December, it looks to be about 404.8 kilometers.
So you hear what he just said, right?
No, I was writing a comment. I'm sorry.
Oh, I got the worst luck with you sometimes. Maybe it's payback for how horrible I was. When we used to podcast and my mic would shut off and you'd be like, Ronnie. So what he's showing here is a graph of the supposed International Space Station, something that he's filmed in the sky. And I want you to look. The lowest that it came was between 404 kilometers and 404.2 kilometers high. Do you see a problem?
The variation?
You don't see the problem with something that's 404 kilometers away?
Well, I don't know that in miles, but I know that I can't see that far.
Can you film anything that far?
No.
Go
out and film something that's more than 40, 50 miles away, people. Good luck.
The space station, the space shuttle wasn't that big. What is it? Like a little bit larger than a 747?
Yeah.
It's not that big.
Yeah, try doing that at 100 miles.
This guy's got his
50 miles.
His P1000 or whatever, and he says he's filming a plane at 404 kilometers away. Oh boy, I just love it. How these people think that they have this superhuman, but this guy's a flat earther, right? He's been filming things that are 400 miles away. He's saying, right?
He's a disinformation channel.
I'll play a little.
And he's on the fake flat earth team, and he puts out all this evidence that seems pro flat earth, but it's all faked, right?
It's curved. He's
turn around. They can turn around and they can say, yeah, the AE mapping model doesn't work because of this. And all these people that were propping up flat earth for this time, you know, the Jarens and Mark Sargents, all these people, everything that they showed you was BS. It was made up. And it's true. They don't use real evidence.
Mark Sargent was the worst. He shows you like people playing basketball with like apes walking behind the picture, right? There's your flat earth knowledge. It's ridiculous what the other team has done. Bob, who I confronted, right? They're on holidays, I guess. They're probably in Hawaii too. Bob has denied, stating that the earth has a 15-degree movement per hour. Right?
He denied that? Oh, yeah. You said he denied it.
He denied it in the chat. It's obvious that he said it twice. I'm going to keep bringing it up every hangout too, just to like,
it's in the documentary.
Yeah. All you Glowbusters people, where are your answers? Where is the footage of Bob supposedly proving that the earth is moving? Bob has done something that Aries or Mickelson and Morley, they had all kinds of scientific lasers and mirrors, and Bob's disproven all of it. And the earth is a spinning ball now, thanks to Bob, right?
Yeah, well, I want to cut that clip out of the documentary.
We got it.
And just watch that. Just post that with a big old question mark. Bob, what are you talking about? Like,
I'm on it. Let alone being on mainstream Mason television, right? You know, and there's Mark Sargent, all these shills, man. Where are the real flat earthers at? I got a comment from somebody who was like, no, your map can't be work. It's impossible to take a globe and flatten it out. And he has a $40,000 challenge on his page. So I went there and I said, you can keep the 40,000. I serve the living creator. I said, but here's the map, and it perfectly wraps to a sphere, right? But where are the rest of the flat earthers? They know that the AE map model doesn't work, right? The Wolfie crew, they don't believe Jaren's dome thing. Come on, man. You have to be a big R, super R to come on. People don't think that the sky is acting like a pop bottle glasses, right?
Everything gets flipped and inverted and is completely distorted.
Yeah,
that's the way you see everything, like a fish.
Oh man. So I'll just play a little more.
Wow, this is disturbing. Wow. Where are the space shuttles? Well, here's one. This is Atlantis. I've seen it.
Look how small this thing is, man. You couldn't see this at 40 miles. let alone 404 kilometers, man. Come on.
You couldn't see
This
it at
guy.
20 miles.
Center, beautiful display. I recommend it. I've seen the Discovery at the Dulles airport, and there's another one in Southern California which I haven't seen yet.
She's worshiping this stuff and recommending it.
Last tour when it flew around the country. I was at Vandenberg Air Force Base when it flew
He's
over
seen
there,
it
and
fly.
I went outside and watched it.
You've seen it.
Pretty impressive. But this begs the question: what the heck? That thing a space shuttle at the same altitude as the ISS? I don't know.
No.
The space shuttle is quite impressive. Here's a technical drawing.
It's not. Where's the fuel? Where's the fuel?
It's in that tank right before the boot. See?
This one?
Yep.
There's no way that's enough fuel to push these supposed thrusters. We got all kinds of pipe work. The baffled wings, right? This is just a glorified glider that has openable roof. But I don't believe that these thrusters. Well, I don't know. Do they launch this thing? I think I saw it, but I was so mind controlled then.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jaron had proposed once that they have this and it's filled with helium, right? And they do some sort of a smoke trick when they let it go. And if you watch the thing take off, it goes slow, like you'd imagine a helium balloon would go. And we both know that when you build a rocket as a kid and you have a smaller battery, these things are like 20 stories tall. The rocket's not this. This thing sat on a rocket, didn't it? But doesn't it have to leave at a certain velocity? Like the rocket takes off. How does it go? How does all that weight lift up like less than a mile an hour? Just slowly.
Without tumbling.
Yes, with standing up vertical stations. It just baffles my mind. Like I could see this thing here being with like a regular jet engine and getting up high into the altitude, maybe above 40,000 feet. I could see this thing being able to glide, changing your altitudes, just going like up and down, up and down. It looks like a big glider.
It does.
But
we've got Grace Malley in here asking, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? I guess I dropped into an Intel area. Well, if you haven't been paying attention, the Limitless channel is Ronnie Harris, and Awake Soul, that's me. I'm Jason Laufenberg. We've been exposing the Earth is not a spinning ball flying through space for like 3 years, and a whole bunch of other stuff. We've exposed that the AE map model doesn't work. We've exposed that we are in some sort of simulation / spiritual realm. And we've exposed who created this place. So just that's who we are. That's what we do. We cover lies and deception. And we're also bringing out fuelless energy. So we do what we can around here, but thanks for joining.
Yeah, that's who we are basically. And we're also devout followers of the one true living creator, right? Yahweh is his name. And he came here and was the embodiment of Yahweh and man. And his name was Yahweh Shai. And that's the ancient Hebrew that they would have spoken before the Masoretics got in there and messed it all up, because they had to translate it for the Greek people and so on and so forth. We can actually go back now and back check every word in the Bible and the extra canonical scriptures. And we've also been teaching that Yahushai. So basically in the Old Testament, the whole entire book was pointing towards Yahushai coming in the flesh. He was also throughout the entire book himself. He was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He was walking throughout the flames. He appeared to Moses in the tree. And the prophecy of that the the Son of Man would have to be lifted up like the serpent was, because Moses and them had the staff that turned to a serpent. So shall the Son of Man, who will take away all the sins of mankind. He had to be raised up on a staff, a stake. So the Christian cross symbol that people have been putting all over their apparel and necklaces, it's actually a pagan ankh. And it wasn't even what the Creator, what he was crucified on. He was nailed to a post, right? To a stake, upright stake. Just like that snake wrapped around the staff in Egypt. It was a prophecy that had to be fulfilled. There's so many different things. The Levites, so the highest priests, they were the ones that had to do the sacrifices, right, Jason? Correct?
Yeah, that was their role. That's
right.
The Levites.
So guess what?
People, when they would sacrifice, then the Levites would take from that. So they were a priest class that was set aside.
And they were the ones that did the killing. And when Yahushua came, it was the priest class, right, that condemned him to be hung, right? It was the same one. So throughout the whole entire book, there's foreshadowing his entire return, his entire coming, until he came in the flesh, walked amongst us, and John the Baptist paved the way, flattened the earth, so to speak. And Yahushua followed, baptizing with the Holy Spirit. We are now in the new covenant, in the third dispensation, where we now understand that the spiritual language in the scriptures there was a higher level of understanding, and all that has come true and come to pass. And there's a group of us that also teach that. And do you want to finish off with some clips with the amazing machine that you've got working there, and give everybody an update? Because it's monumental.
Yeah, I've got one more thing I could show before that too. I don't know if you saw this at all. Unless if you're in a hurry to go.
No, what do you mean?
But so this is a channel, World's Last Chance, that I think is a spin-off from the Seventh-day Adventists. They are flat earthers, and this was interesting because it started out with sort of a commercial type thing of what's taking place, and it's, in my opinion, a huge globe Earth debunk in and of itself. But then they also went into a regular podcast and they were speaking flat Earth truth biblically. I didn't watch the whole thing. I only got into it a little ways, but I can say that I didn't hear any lies up until the point that I was at. So this is sort of interesting. I'll speed it up a little.
This is WBCQ, bringing World's Last Chance Radio to you from Monticello, Maine, USA.
What do you see there?
I see a tower, red and white, and a bunch of X's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so huge antenna array, and you can see the scale of it. Here's like a huge backup generator. You've got special power lines being run in here. Let's listen to some of the specs on this. This is a shortwave radio.
The town of Monticello will soon be home to one of the largest shortwave radio stations in the world.
Ah, look at what they have in the background.
That's an 8. Oh, the 8 map.
Oh, these are Freemasons.
Oh.
But check this out.
According to those involved. In this week's Heuristic 2020, News Source 8's Ashley Blackford finds out what this major project could mean for the area.
Crews are hard at work constructing this antenna.
We are building one of the largest and most powerful radio stations in the world, and it is going to be designed to send a shortwave radio signal to any country on Earth.
You get that?
Oh, yeah.
An antenna that you can broadcast anywhere on Earth from this antenna.
That's great.
Is that a globe Earth debunk?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Totally. Because it's got to be what, line of sight?
Well, if an antenna that you can get a signal to China, if it's on the opposite side of the world, I mean, a cell phone signal hardly goes through a couple walls in your house, but that antenna is supposed to go around the whole globe.
Super boosted by satellites that are geostationary above it in a line directly running around the disk, the circle of the Earth or whatever.
Yeah, and then power becomes a little bit of an issue. Oh man, they got the 3 6s.
It's going to have the equivalent of about 20 million watts of power, and it's designed to broadcast free speech.
20 million watts of power.
We got to get on this thing and get our message out there, bro.
Mm-hmm. That's what I
How
was
do we get
thinking.
on there? Yeah.
Radio, and our primary client is a religious client with Christian and biblical teaching and biblical programming.
Shortwave radio is radio transmission that uses short.
Yeah.
Come on. No, we're getting censored. People on YouTube. These people have enough money to erect this tower and power it for World's Last Chance YouTube? Come on.
Freemasons. Look at this. And the contractors all get shout outs in this as well.
This might be Jesuit, man. This is above the Freemasons.
No, the Freemasons are the builders. Jesuits don't build stuff. Look at Jared.
Did
He
you know
thought he could drill a 2-inch hole through a post.
That's putting play sand, barrel, whatever, pail. He's gonna hold it still. No, but I heard today a bunch of the degrees are Jesuit order in the Masonic order. So if you get to 33rd, you're a Jesuit, right? So you know, they're mixed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they don't have to work anymore, right?
They got the ring or whatever.
Shortwave radio is something that's very receivable, especially in countries where people don't have the internet.
For the past 20 years, Alan Wiener has run the WBCQ radio
Nice
station in Monticello. He says it was the organization World's Last Chance that decided to set up this new station in the county.
One of the reasons why the ministry came to WBCQ here in Monticello is because we have a reputation as a totally free speech radio station.
Construction for the project is being done locally.
We decided to go with all local contractors. And Jim Martin,
he's gonna name his contractors right now.
Look at the time.
Construction is head contractor here, and Staples Construction is handling the rigging of the antenna. All local people, all local jobs, and it's really, really working out well.
In order to power the station, Hamera Maine has been hard at work along Route 1 to accommodate the new electrical load.
The station has brought jobs and has brought, we are
10 million watts, he said.
Wow.
So there's a power issue here too. Like they could be building this the opposite way, where that's an antenna that's collecting power, and the infrastructure that they're putting in, like everybody's going to have free power, all the Freemasons in this area, you know. So just
they got the 88 as well. The HH. They love that as well. See that? Actually, there's 3.
Rebuilding the entire electrical grid through the town of Monticello, which is great for the town, great for any businesses that want to come to town and maybe set up shop.
Wiener is hoping construction will be completed by winter so they can get some signals on the air. Ashley Blackford, News Source 8.
Yeah.
Wow.
So let's see if you want to. Let's see. I'll stop here and I'm going to join from my phone outside if you want.
Sure. Let's do it. World's Last Chance. Let's check this out. I guess Jason's going to give us a demonstration. Be interesting to see. But yeah, the Buddha guy can chill out, but you know, Buddha by his very own teachings would have had to follow Yahushua on principle alone. A really smart guy that was new agey for a time taught me that. It's pretty verifiable and true, right? By his very own teachings, the Buddha would have followed Yahushua. He would have been a Christian. He would have probably been a lot like Jason. Maybe not. I don't know. Buddha was pretty passive. Jason's pretty aggressive. But yeah, we're gonna be stepping up into the free energy flywheel technology update. Jason's been working hard, and I've been doing praying. Thank you everybody that prayed for my I was having migraines on on Friday, and they're gone. I feel much better. I'm back to working out again. So we got Jason. I'm just going to mute and let you take it away. You're live. Thing looks beautiful. That's full screen.
You talk now?
Yeah, you're good.
Now I can hear you. All right, so here's the build here. We've got the alternator out here. We've got the let's see if I'm trying to, the headlights of my truck might help. Here, just a second.
We lost your camera, but everyone bear with us. He was just showing us the flywheel, the alternator, and we were just looking at the motor, the scooter motor that's going to power the flywheel. Okay, Buddha. Yeah, we'll let you know. We're pretty quick with that. Go ahead, Jay.
Can you see it now?
I can see it perfectly clear, shining, nice.
All right. So I'm going to give it a push, and I'm going to turn on. Oh, second. I want to run it the other direction.
There it is, spinning.
So I've just got it lightly turning right now. But this thing will absolutely hum, and the alternator that's on there, it doesn't even, you could have, I can't even count how many different alternators you could have attached to this thing. This little scooter motor can absolutely make this flywheel hum. And so we're going to have as many alternators as we need running off of this thing to drive whatever we want at a super excess of power. So when I turn it all the way off, it's like the motor breaks or something. I'm just getting familiar with the whole build right now. It's pretty brand new to me. I just was able to run it like this today, all set up. So more to do with it, and then the hooking up an inverter so that I can actually disconnect from the power company and just run all my power myself. So I just wanted to show everybody.
Yeah, I think it's
running,
great, brother. I just think, I'm so thankful that you've put this together. That was great, brother. It's great. You already turned it off? Okay. That's great. So the free energy flywheel first spin live, hashtag Team Yahushai.
I'll be right back inside.
So yeah, I was just uploading that as a highlight. Hopefully people hear about it. So yeah, think of another Mandela Bud Light, Triscuits, McDonald's, and Bragg's, they've all changed. The Ford is written differently. This guy's got some great stuff. Moneybags is probably still the best. I haven't seen him doing too many videos lately. But the Mandela Effect, they got so many interesting changes and topics, and yeah, some people may not agree with it. We all have, different memories, but the main collective memory, like the Thinking Man, this one's super. There's people literally taking pictures with the Thinking Man, and they're doing the wrong pose.
Change number 2 for me. In my past, the thinker was
Mine
fist
too.
to head. And he looked like he was thinking.
The Thinking Man.
But sucking on his knuckles like he is now, to change was
Wow.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, that's changed for me. A bunch of these clips too. I remember South America was directly below North America like this. Now it's, the way we have it too on our map, it's kicked way over. What is it? The 3 rows? I thought there was only 2 rows in the JFK car.
Yeah, 2 rows, man. 2 rows. There's no 3rd row.
Yeah, I don't remember a 3rd row. But it's amazing the people that are taking pictures beside this statue. I guess, does he have it in here? They're actually doing the Thinking Man pose to their forehead, but the statue has his hand in it to the mouth. There's so many, right? But yeah, that was a great demonstration, brother. You're doing a great job with that build.
Yeah, well, having everything up and running and bolted down, and I've got some kinks and bugs to work out and ways to optimize it. And the inverter, it's going to be a chunk of change, but it'll be a worthwhile investment. So at least I know once the house is sold, I'll be able to pick up the inverter, and I won't have any need for fuel well, see, I'm planning on getting a 5th wheel. I want to downsize and be mobile. And so in a 5th wheel, generally you have to park it somewhere where you can plug into power, because it's too expensive to just run a generator nonstop, just burning gasoline constantly. And so something like this, be able to park anywhere. Just spin up the flywheel generator, and the electrical load on a 5th wheel is really light. You can get by with just 30 amps, maybe 50, if you really want to be like running 3 ACs or something. But yeah, it's going to be nice to be both mobile with my home and not restrained to areas where you have to plug into electric. So super pumped about that.
I am too, man. I think the energy is limitless, and I think once we figure out or you specifically, dial in everything the way that it works, it's going to be great, and then we're going to try to get as many of these out there. Maybe on Wednesday, I'll play a little bit of that. My dad, he sent me a clip. Hey, check this out. It's a guy who's selling blueprints. It's something very, very similar to what Jason's building, except it's all the disinformation and all the lies that you could possibly put into one piece of mind control propaganda. And I'm starting to think, man, maybe they did give you that strike because you were at this stage with the build, and They didn't want your channel's footprint.
Well, that was my first thought. You know, I've been working so hard to get this done, and I've been so excited to share it. And you know, they give me the community guideline strike from a video from way back on the whole Vegas thing, and it's, you know, it's just stupid. They're trying to hold it down. Right?
Yeah, totally, bro. That's what I'm thinking. It makes complete sense to me that you're being censored because of it. And I think it's going to work. I think you've been given the insight, and the creator wants this energy system out there. I think it's going to help Christians through, you know, maybe some of the darkest times with the no buying and no selling type of thing. There's got to be reasons that this is taking place, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I've been thinking all along. And let's see. Yeah, well, it also gives us an opportunity to share the truth about Yahweh and Yahushai all over the place, because you know, if people actually take on to the idea of not having to pay for their electric or fuel anymore, because we can obviously make this work in vehicles and stuff as well. We can drive vehicles with electric motors. In fact, that's the way they really started out in the beginning. We'll just go back to that. And, you know, trains, they're electric locomotives right now, right? So we just have a flywheel generator that generates the power for the electric motors. We don't need to run diesel fuel or anything in a train or in a semi or in a car or in an airplane or any of that stuff. So it's just the way Satan's system, they held back the technology that would benefit all humankind so that a few people could profit. And those days are over, but I don't see Satan's system going down without kicking and screaming. So I really see us coming into these end times here shortly. I'm super looking forward to the end of 2018, the Venus and Moon conjunction. My eyes are going to be fixed. I know what I'm going to be watching.
Yeah. Totally, brother. And I'm with you every step of the way. I think it's great that I've got a clip uploaded on my channel now that says flat earth or flywheel, free energy flywheel first spin. And I'm thankful for all the hard work that you've done.
Yeah, Ryan asked the question, do you need to buy an inverter in order to gauge if the flywheel generates extra energy? No. There's a lot of ways that test all that. I haven't had the time to go through that testing, but it's so right now I have the batteries that power the drive motor from the get-go, the alternator to the batteries. The draw from the drive motors is only like 2 amps. But the output from the alternator is 100 amps. So there's a surplus there, but I haven't been able to hook up anything else to it right now, like other loads, to see how much of a load I can put on it yet. I've got some stuff to do to clean it up, finish it up. I just wanted to share with everyone that it's all spinning, it's all put together like that. I might be picking up a different alternator. The one that I got off of Amazon has it needs a controller, and so I'm looking at some different options right now. But yeah, for all, I don't think we're gonna have a problem spinning the alternators, and we know what alternators do when they spin. So They produce electric.
They become motors, right? Generators.
Well, and that's the thing. We've got Flat Earth Mage in here saying the output needs a capacitor to smooth out the power and stop the bucking. So I do not know electrical circuits like this. I am learning on the fly as I go. And I really could use the help of a person that knows electrical circuits well
Does
in order
the flux
to put in the
capacitor,
correct, the fuses, the relays, the...
Can you burn your garbage in the flux capacitor?
Yes. And there's so much disinformation out there. When you go to research on these topics, I can see you get this YouTube video with 7 million views on it, and some guy's got a wire taped on the side of an alternator. It's not even connected to anything. And you're like, ah!
Oh, it never ends with that too. There's so much of it.
Yep.
The power companies do not want you having fuelless free energy. They do not want it. There's the disinformation is like just as bad as flat earth, but I don't know, flat earth probably takes the cake. The AE mapping model is the worst disinformation, like our reality, right? Jaron, we were told we were living on a spinning spherical earth our whole lives, and now we know that it's flat, and we got this Jaronism guy coming out and telling us no, it's actually the sun is going the complete opposite direction than what you see. Everything is backwards still. It's like
Oh, and there's something else that I came across today where people were doing things with these alternators, which, keep in mind, alternator is really it's a disinformation term. Alternator refers to making alternating current, which I guess these things do, but we use them in our cars and they output DC in our cars. But it looks like there is, because of the way the rotor, the stator, the windings, and the way this is done, I guess it is producing AC at first, and then it's like rectifying it to DC. So it looks like there might be a way that we can tap the AC off of the alternator without having to do the inverter. So that could
011100011. We will be sharing this everywhere. You can re-upload and download any of Jason's videos. Sorry to interrupt you.
And it's all been documented all the way along. If you look back across our channels, there's been many. How long ago do you say we first? Over 6 months ago. It was this spring when we were first started with HHO, and we were talking about over Unity. I showed some concept builds that were similar to something like this. This has just sort of evolved the way it has over the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 months or something.
You're doing a great job, brother. I know you're going to get the electrical side dialed in. Like, from my research, I think I kind of understand how it works now. The way that there's the stators that go around. I sort of understand that.
Stators stay and rotators rotate.
That's right. The stators are placed around where the rotator's rotating. But no, you just tried to lose my train of thought there.
Sorry.
What I've seen is people saying that they can completely convert an alternator into a generator without spinning it. So for me, I've seen so much disinformation about that, but it makes me wonder, like, if you don't even need to spin the thing and you can make power or, whatever, how far are you going to be able to get this to go? I think you only need 2 or 3 alternators to make enough electricity, and that'd be more than enough for a house.
That should be it. And I'm doing this on a budget too. I would love to be working. I've come across some alternators that, advertise being 600 amps or whatever, but then I would need to hit like 6,000 RPMs and stuff like that. So this is going to be a little bit bulkier and a few more components involved. but we don't need that much. We don't need 600 amps. This typical home service has got 200 amps, and that'll take care of a 6,000 square foot house, no problem, with all their toys in it. So,
well, the video I put out should get millions of views, right? Like hundreds of thousands, just like all the other flywheel free energy technology videos, right?
yeah, into 1000011 or whatever. I've been trying to do everything in 24 volts because my initial thought was that solar and wind has really built a lot of technology around 24 volts. A lot of times the battery banks are 24 volts, the inverters are 24 volts, and generators and stuff like that, like in wind, are 24 volts. So I would love to have the money for like a permanent magnet DC generator, the type that you would use in a windmill. They have incredible power curves with right away they're producing huge amounts of power off of just a few miles per hour of wind. So you have great power curves. You don't need to excite it because it's a permanent magnet motor. There's a lot of places we can go with this. I'm just trying to do it on a budget right now.
All right. Should we end it out here?
Yeah, sounds good.
I guess, thank everybody. Thank everybody for being here. Prayer request. My mom's not feeling well, and if everyone could give her a prayer, I'd be truly appreciative of it. And I guess, brother, super thanks to Yahushai for creating you and allowing you to be exactly who you are, man. And I'm really thankful that you got this flywheel free energy stuff going, man. It's a piece of happiness in a really dark world for me, brother, like beyond words. And this is
only beyond flat earth.